Share your thoughts with me on this. Do you believe that your predicament determines your destiny? Meaning, the way you grow up or your situation as a child is the thing that is going to predict the future of your life. Well, if you are someone who is feeling like you're stuck by your story or you're stuck by your situation or you're stuck by your predicament, well, I am here today to show you that anything is possible. I have a very special guest on my show, and I'm going to introduce her in just a moment that you are going to love today. Hey there, I'm Tracy Matthews. I'm the Chief Visionary Officer of Flourish and Thrive Academy, and I help jewelry business owners launch, grow, and scale successful brands using my methodology called the Desire Brand Effect. So if you're craving to build a 6, 7, or multiple 7-figure business, you are in the right place. We are here to support and help you. My guest on the show today is Lia Valencia Key. She is someone who is so inspirational. I saw her speak at an event a couple of months ago, and I just knew that I had to have her on the show. So today we talk about Lia's upbringing and how she overcame severe adversity. We talk about how she was selected for Oprah's Favorite Things. And we also talk a little bit more about her experience on QVC and how she's really created and carved out her own path, building a jewelry and lifestyle brand. So let's dive into this episode with Lia. I am so excited to have Lia Valencia Key on the podcast today. I met her recently at an event called Powerhouse Women. She was one of the speakers there, and I was just freaking blown away. So Lia, welcome to the show today.
I'm so excited to be here with you all.
Your energy is the best. I love it so much.
I love you. I love everything you have on. So
oh, thanks, girl. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, my first question is really, you shared a lot at this event. You faced poverty. Your story to me was both heart-wrenching and heartwarming. It's just such an empowering story. So what I'd really love for people to hear is kind of your journey into the jewelry industry and how your history kind of impacted where you are now.
Thank you so much. I love sharing my journey because it can be your light, your path to your future. And so I will tell you that when you see me, everything looks light and you would think oh, that was how she was born. But truly, I was born in what I call the dark. I was born in the most impoverished neighborhood of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to a single mother. My mother had 3 children, my sister, brother, and myself. And we lived in this poverty-stricken neighborhood, trash on the street, drug transactions on every corner. Mm-hmm. And that was living until poverty went to destitute when my mother broke her leg in several places and she could no longer afford. We were living in a basement apartment, 1 room under someone's rundown home, and she could no longer afford that. And I remember vividly the moment she was walking us back from school and there was a padlock on the door. And I never saw pain like that before. I was young, about age 8, and a mother had no place to take her 3 children. All of our belongings were locked inside.
Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine.
Can you imagine that? A mother, 3 kids, all belongings locked away, nowhere to go. And that immediately sent us to a women's homeless shelter. And I love to visualize that because when we got there, it was a big room and the room was filled with these little metal cots, and one mother got 1 cot. So the whole entire family had to ball up on this one metal bed.
Like those little skinny cots that they have.
Little skinny cots. Exactly. And they're a foot apart. So imagine families balled up on 1 cot and there's crying and moaning and sorrow in the sea of darkness. But what I share is my mother looked down at us and says, your predicament doesn't determine your destiny. And that power is so magical because that was just a seed. I started to become my environment. We lived there for several years. I started to become negative. I failed every grade. And I like to say the first true light that was turned on in my life was I'm about 10, 11-ish now, and I'm coming back from school to the homeless shelter, and my mother's standing at the head of the homeless shelter. And I get in front of her and she said, I have a question for you. Do you want to be a follower or a leader? And I was confused, of course. And she said, because right now you're following your environment. And guess what? You're going to be exactly what you see in this environment. Or Leah, you can choose to lead your life. You can lead and listen to all the inner whispers and light to your destiny. So Leah, you choose. And she walked away. And that exposed me immediately to the understanding of choice. I had never understood what choice was, that it was even a thing. And so immediately I started to choose. Like I realized, like, how do I get better grades? How do I see beyond my environment? And that choice just spiraled me into shattering glass ceilings. Got a master's degree in education. And that was cute, but I started to realize I had to follow my inner joy. And my inner joy was creativity.
That was cute. That was cute. You got a master's in education. That was cute.
Cute. It wasn't. And it's interesting. It was cute because I didn't really get a great income with a master's in education. Like I was barely getting employment. I got a job that was paying very little with a master's in education. I taught a little bit, but it wasn't soul filling. And so I decided to follow my heart, and I looked inward, like my mother told me when I was young, and I realized that creativity was my light. It sparked my joy. And I just started to create, but my mother soon passed really early because of our situation. But right before she passed, she got to see my light shining, and she gave me these little small earrings, and she said, Leah, I see you shining and leading your life. But one day life is hard and you will figure out that you can't find your light. So always wear your earrings every day, and you'll allow them to be a visual, wearable reminder that the light's always within you. All you have to do is choose it. And that started me on a journey of hand sketching jewelry that evoked this reminder of things in life.
That is amazing. So how long have you been designing now?
So I've been sketching. My mother told me that message when I was about 20-ish. And so I've been sketching since I was 20, but business didn't come for 10 years or so later, 10 or more years later. I didn't even understand it was a business possibility. I'm still coming from poverty. I'm just trying to figure out how to support myself, right? Like, how do I not be homeless again? Like, that's the dream, but also like fill my joy. So I realized that I could create through hair and makeup. And the reason why I chose hair and makeup, it was creative, but I knew there was income to be had in that world. So I sat on a destiny of that with a master's degree. I went back and got a cosmetology license. I know, crazy. Sweeping a salon floor with a master's degree, learning this creative thing, but really enjoy, like not making a lot of money, but really loving it. And I had to support myself, and I started to work at MAC Cosmetic. And a lady came in and she had a professional idea, and I asked her, what did she do professionally? And she said she worked for QVC. I was like, what is that? Didn't know what it was. She said a 24-hour TV station that sells products on air all day, every day. My eyes lit up because I wasn't even hearing any of that. All I heard was, there's got to be a 24-hour salon in there because people are going on TV, right? And she said, yes, it is. And your energy is power. I love to share that. The energy that she felt from me, she said, I'll give you the email address to the person in the salon. Really? So I contact the person. They reply to me. They tell me I need a license. I'm not licensed yet. That goes dead. I still get my license. And now took me about 3 years to get my instructor's license. No one at QVC was there anymore that I had connected with. So it took me 5 more years to get in QVC. And that's so important to the jewelry journey, because I feel like our life takes all these turns and twists to get us. I thought QVC for me, for creativity, 24 hours, right? But God had a bigger dream for me for QVC. 5 years later, I get denied for 5 years straight that I'm not qualified, just to put that out there.
Oh, for your salon and hair and makeup?
Yeah, I would apply online, go up. They would say I'm not qualified as a stylist. And I would just keep applying because I knew I was meant to be there. I knew I didn't want to work in a salon. These were two clear things. And I knew QVC was because it's in Pennsylvania, in Westchester. So it was so close to me. I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So I used to tell everybody I wanted to work for QVC. Finally, I tell one person that I clearly was aligned to my destiny, Fred. I met him and I said, I want to work for QVC. And he says, oh, my friend works there. I give him my contact information. He talks about me to his friend, never met me. He says, this woman has such great energy. If there's anything you can do, can you contact her? She contacts me and says, my friend said something about your beautiful energy. Here's the manager's email, all her contact information, and use me as a reference.
Oh my gosh.
5 years, right? But in the 5 years, I like to say, in the nose, I'm preparing. I'm crying and I'm distraught. I'm not going to ignore that. But I'm also sweeping floors and learning all different hairstyles and textures. So I'm preparing. And she gives me that information. I use her as a reference. That opens the doors for me. I get an interview, 5 years of practice. I get accepted in the QVC. The doors of glory and light open for me. To me, it's like an adult Disney World. People making dreams happen, the hosts, dreamers living out their dreams, business owners and entrepreneurs, you know about it, right? Yes. And I'm styling these people 24 hours a day. And I'm hearing all of these things about business. And Two Hearts, Vicky Sai, founder of Tatcha Skincare, huge beauty brand, and Jamie Kern-Lima, founder of A Cosmetics and New York Times bestseller. Believe it, she's coming out with a new book called Worthy. So good, pre-order it. I'm so excited.
I'm writing it down. We'll put it in the show notes.
Going to launch, and her first book was Believe It, but then in order to truly believe it, we have to understand we're worthy. And this book unlocks all of that. So these two beautiful hearts saw my light. I don't know if they saw my talent, but they saw my energy and my light, and they said, come along with me. And they took me around the world with them and exposed me to business. They sat me in business rooms that a hairstylist never sits in, PR meetings, marketing meetings, concept meetings, budgets, all these business meetings. And I start to see if you have a tangible mission, like a heart for something, an untangible concept, and you pour it into something tangible, then in the receiver's hand, it becomes life-changing. And I realized since my mother had told that message to me, I had been hand sketching jewelry. And that the reason why everyone was inviting me into their life, it was because I would bring light and energy and this energy of possibility to their soul. And when I was done styling them, the last thing, they would be all dressed. The last thing they would say is, what earrings do I put on? What necklace what bracelet do I seal on? Like it was a seal of courage and confidence before they went on. And that's when I knew, like, oh, I have to bring my creative sketches to the world because they can be symbolic to unlocking your bravery, unlocking your light. And from the darkness that I come from, whatever someone wants to do, it's symbolic that all things are possible. And that's how Valencia Key was created. Valencia means brave and courage in a Spanish dialect, and key, as we know, unlocks things. So it's unlocking that bravery and light in every turn.
Is Key your last name?
It's my last name, and I didn't want to use it. I fought against it. I promise you. I was like,
it's so
no.
good. You have a great name. Like, seriously.
I was like, Mom, you did this before I knew it. I found that name. Well, my name was my name, but I found that I had to do it on this voyage. I needed to see beyond my environment. So when we talk about creating jewelry and hearts that are listening, I think what you symbolize is as big or bigger than the pieces that you create. And so it's so important to take intentional time to understand, like, what am I in everything when people wear it. So when I said, well, what's my name going to be? What is that? It can't, if it's just my name, then I don't want it. But I went to Egypt, Morocco, and Spain because I wanted to see beyond my environment. When I was exposed when I was younger, for me to change my mindset and to get out of that environment, I had to see something different. That's how I was able to get through college and things like that. So I knew I wanted to take that same premise and me creating this business. So I went to Egypt, Morocco, and Spain, and I started to see all these symbolic lights. And I went to a temple, and in this one temple, I heard a whisper, and it said, pray for what you're here for. I went on this voyage
Was this in Egypt?
in Egypt.
Oh my gosh. I feel like everyone who goes into the temples in Egypt has a message that's sent to them.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
my friend just did this. And she's like, I got codes from the gods. And she was like,
oh my gosh, this makes me so happy because I'm like, no, I'm serious. It was a clear whisper. That makes my soul happy.
oh my gosh,
Everyone
I'm going to Egypt. I'm going to those temples to hang out with Sekhmet and like all those.
you too. And like whisper, because my first time I was just looking, and then I was in this one temple and I literally heard, like what your friend said, clear message, ask for what you're here for. And I said out of my mouth, by the time I leave this journey, I want to have an intentional message, what my name is, and a message within it. And I want to be hand sketching my visual logo that is symbolic of that message. Such a clear request. I went to Morocco from Egypt. I started to see all these lights. I went in this one store and it was keys from ceiling, like floor to ceiling. It was so many keys. I was chills. So I went and asked the store owner, what? Why do you have all these keys? And he looked at me very confused. He's like, I should know. And he said, keys are symbolic of unlocking the light in your life.
Hello.
What? So I'm like, okay, chills. I'm a random person. What I love is be a little random. Have some strategy. I need to learn more strategy, honestly. If y'all could pray for something for me, pray for people's strategy in my life.
We can help you with strategy over here.
I'm very random. I'm like, I let the world give me what's necessary. So I'm leaving the store, maybe I think it was the next morning. I come out of my little hostel I was in, and I see backpackers walking across to this bus station, and I yell at them, where are y'all going? And they say Spain. And I'm like, can I come? I had 2 more days left on my journey there. And my flight was leaving from Morocco, but I had 2 days left. And I'm like, can I come? And they were like, come on. So I grab all my stuff, run across, and I leave for Spain on this bus with the backpackers. I didn't even know that from Morocco, there's a ferry that goes across to Spain. So I land in Spain, and I tell them bye because I feel like my job was done with them. And I'm hanging out in the local area, and one of the locals asked my name. And for some reason, I always say my full name because my grandmother, whenever she meant something serious, she would say Lia Valencia Key. Like that. That meant for me to focus up. So I told them Lia Valencia Key, and one of the locals said, oh, Valencia in our dialect, our slang dialect, means bravery and courage. That's such a beautiful name.
Girl, you got your answer.
The flight back from Morocco home was so magical. I'm hand sketching, I'm visualizing those lights. And I took the V that was symbolic of bravery and courage, and I put them in a symbol of lights. And I took the key that the store owner said symbolized unlocking the light in your life. And that became that logo of bravery and courage, that you always have the key within inside of you to unlock the light. And that just started, honestly, the journey, because now I have intention and I have mission and I have a message. And then I already have the hand sketch pieces, which are in my little rough book, my little sketchbook.
I love it.
And that's how I started.
How long have you been in business?
I actually LLC'd in 2016.
Oh, that's awesome. Amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
It's been a journey.
This is a great story. So, okay, so you have, I'm just going to go off of the questions that I originally formulated. We're just going to chat here. You know, you've developed this whole brand, like sort of like just out of your experience. It's just like, I feel like it's just coming to you, right?
Yeah.
How have you used that to really get exposure and land some like really significant placements for your jewelry brand?
It's the whole entire power. Like everything that I speak about and represent is that mission and is that light force. And so PBS contacted me and they emailed me and they said, oh, we found your brand and we love the energy that it gives off. Can we do a 26-minute episode on your brand. It's been in O Magazine, one of my hoop earrings. And I know because I'm so clear on what I want to give in the world,
Yeah.
then people connect to that.
Not only did you work at QVC, but you eventually sold your jewelry on QVC. Let's talk about what that experience was like for you.
That was a whole journey. So I took the same premise of how I got to QVC. I'm like, you know what? You speak your dreams out to the world. So this is two different worlds. I like to say, like, if you're styling hair in a salon, you are nowhere near the buyers or people that accept. And so it is a two whole world industry. And what I did was I would just tell people that I really want my jewelry on QVC because of the mission that it holds. I just don't want it sitting on a shelf. You need to understand the why of it, or then it doesn't hold my intention. And so I told this to people for 3 years, just random people. If you smiled at me twice, I would tell you. And 3 years later, I got a text message and someone said, "You've been talking about this. QVC is having a big find competition. They're looking for small business brands to compete, and you could possibly get on QVC." I'm like, what? I'm not ready. So I ignored that text. Because I tell so many people, some random other person, not related, texts me a couple days later, the same exact text message. So I'm like, okay, God, I guess I'm not ready, but you're ready. So let me apply to this competition. So I applied.
Of course you got in.
And yeah, it was a big competition, like videos. But I had been, here was my upswing. I had been watching QVC now for about 9 years. Cells and how people communicate, and that concept had just been in my brain because that's all you watch when you're in a salon. So when I submitted my video, I was able to tell my story about the jewelry, the why behind it, and show the branding. And it took a while, a couple series. There was a big mass call where you had to go in with all these people and present in person.
Yeah.
And then finally I did get accepted and I won the QVC Big Find competition. That opened the doors up to me for QVC.
And are you still selling on QVC?
I am. I'm still there.
So great. That's amazing. So we talked briefly in the pre-interview about how I sold on QVC. It did not go that well for me.
Scary. It's scary. It's scary.
It's a big, it's a big thing. You go on there, you're up like at 3 a.m. Like I am not like a middle of the night person. You're trying to sell something, you don't really know who's behind there. And and I talk about this a lot, and I've shared this on the podcast before, and I've shared it in my programs and stuff like that. I've been selling jewelry for like, I don't know, maybe 9 years at that point, successfully. Wow. Like my business was already doing probably around 7 figures at that point. And I think that was the year that I got into QVC, that my best year for that first brand. And they make you go in and take a sales class. And I'm like, I don't need this sales class. Like I already got a business. I learned so much in that sales class. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is part of the thing that's missing in my brand. And it was all about understanding the emotional drivers and the reasons why people buy.
Yes.
It's crazy. Like it was such a huge learning education, and how to appeal to that. So when you're selling on air and you're trying to connect with people through the TV, what are some of the things that you do to share? I mean, obviously you have a great vibe, but to share the meaning behind and how it's going to make them feel and all those things.
Yeah, it's so important to connect to her or him, meaning who are they? What do they want to hear? Kind of getting out of your brain and getting into their brain. Do they care about the class? If they care about the class, talk about the class, right? If that's going to be it's a dexterity thing, meaning is your audience want to know, is it easy and functional to put on and off? Not even just the story, but the functionality of it is so important, because you just think a necklace, but she needs to hear why it's more than a necklace. The class was so easy, quickly connects those things because she can't touch it, so she can visualize it easy in her life.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And you also were picked up by Oprah's Favorite Things.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Magazine. Amazing. I'm still kind of like, huh? Like I still believe there's more to come. I'm manifesting that. My hoop earrings, Limitless, they were my top sellers, which was amazing. Every woman wore them. They would wear them on air, and people just loved them so much. And so, an
Are these
editor,
them? Are these the ones you're
I,
wearing?
these are It's Possible. These are
Okay.
I love a big hoop. And an editor contacted me and asked me to submit some pieces. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? And I submitted some pieces, and you don't get much communication. And then someone messaged me and they said, what? The earrings that I have are in Oprah's Favorite Things magazine. And so I found out like through an Instagram message, which was so stinking cool.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Did you see like an uptick in sales when that happened?
Yes. Oh my God. And you know what's interesting? Press doesn't always
Yeah.
equate sales. You know that, right? It
Mhm.
does. It equates credibility,
Yes. Social proof.
social proof, but it doesn't always equate sales. So I think sometimes when people see you in the press, they immediately think you're making all this money. Could possibly not be true,
Yeah.
but Oprah will bring a tick in. Like I did, people love those earrings and were purchasing them.
Yeah, what I would say about publicity, because I really pitched publicity back in the day. I don't do it too much for my custom jewelry business because I can only handle a couple of clients a month.
Yes.
It's not a huge focus for me right now. But when I was really going for publicity, there were just a couple of publications that really brought it. It was at that time. Do you remember Lucky magazine?
Lucky,
That
yes.
one people would buy a ton of stuff from. Unfortunately, it's folded now, but that magazine, tons of sales. InStyle usually did well.
In style.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that was back in the day.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? Like when you would get on place, this is kind of like similar to like QVC or like obviously Oprah's Favorite Things was still like huge back then.
Oh,
And then like getting on a morning show was really
a
good. But a
morning.
lot of
I want to be on a
people,
morning show.
yeah, it could be scary though, because like one of my friends, Maya Brenner, her website broke after getting on the morning show. Like literally, like it sent so much traffic that she's
Wow.
like, it was a blessing and a curse because we had so many pissed off people because we couldn't fulfill. We had too many orders. Like it was just
Oh,
like insane. But you
wow.
never know. Yeah.
That's a blessing and a curse. Yeah, because my earrings were in Oprah's Favorite Things magazine. I didn't make the Oprah's Favorite Thing list. So we're
Oh.
manifesting to make the list.
Oh, you're
Like,
getting on that list, girl. You're gonna be on Oprah one day. I can feel it.
I dream that. I literally dream that I'm gonna be on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday. I dream it, so it has to happen.
I can see you there. We're setting the intention. You're getting on there.
Attention, and we'll be screaming and crying when I call you all.
That's so amazing. I have a few more questions for you.
Yeah.
Now, you talk a lot about the joys in the journey. You've spent your life, really overcoming adversity. Like, what would you say to someone who's in a challenging moment right now, or they're feeling like, can I really do this? Like, building a business is hard, or my circumstances are determining my future. Like, what would you say to someone like that who's maybe a little stuck?
Oh, I just got chills like run through my body because I am you. Like, first, I will say that, like, I am you. Like, if you are there, I pray you allow yourself to see you in me, and that if I can keep going and keep pushing obstacles, running over obstacles, going under them, going around them, then you can too. And that if there's a whisper in your heart for this business to be, then it is so. So you have to keep going. But the way you keep going is you've got to let your mission be bigger than you. I work with women in homeless shelters to help them unlock where the path of light is to their journey of success. I go to Africa and work with women to use their natural crafts to work with me to hand custom bead designs so that they can have income and education for their families. That mission is bigger than me. So every time I quit, the need still stands. So then I have to get back up and try again. And that's what keeps me going and going and going. So if you are stuck and you can't do it for you, put something bigger than you in place of that, connected to your business, and you will try again every day.
Yeah, that's such a good message. What do you do to get yourself out of a funk when you're in a funk?
I'm always in a funk too sometimes. Funks come and I gotta shake. First of all, I talk to myself a lot. So
Me
I
too.
want to be very clear. Like, and I answer, and I'm not ashamed about it. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so upset. And I'm like, you can't be upset. You gotta let that go. Clear your mind. So I am back and forth in my whole mind. I give myself speeches. I love my jewelry. My jewelry inspires me. I'm like, listen, every time I look at it and touch it, I'm like, wow, if I can come from no home, no place, no food to eat. I never even mentioned that. Not even that we had no food to eat. If I can come from that and I can touch these pieces that other humans are actually wearing, and they're wearing it being inspired, then wow, I gotta shake this stank off and get to the light, because the light has taken me so far. Another thing, I love music.
Mm-hmm.
My jam and my joy zone. Turn a little music on and dance throughout the room like no one's watching. And that'll get me out of it real quick.
I love that. You got such great energy. It's amazing.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so Lia, I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today. This was such a fun interview. Where can everyone find you? Where can they follow you on Instagram? Where are all the things?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Please check out my website, put your email in, especially even if you're already a jewelry designer. I have wonderful creations that aren't jewelry that work with women in the villages of Africa to support that. And that's www.valenciakey.com. Or just hang out with me on Instagram. My personal is Lia Valencia Key. We're in the world's Carmen Sandiego. I'm in different places every other week, so it's fun to track me. And then my business Instagram is Valencia Key Design. So I'd love to stay connected, and hopefully we can encourage and inspire each other through this journey.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching the show today. This is Tracy Matthews signing off. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you subscribe to our channel, hit that little notification bell, and share it with a friend. And it also wouldn't hurt to give Lia Valencia Key a little shout out and let her know that you watched this episode. In addition to that, if you are a jewelry business owner who is ready to grow your company to multiple six or seven figures and beyond, I would love to support you in that dream. Please, please, please pick up a copy of my best-selling book, The Desire Brand Effect: Stand Out in a Saturated Market with a Timeless Jewelry Brand. It has been called the Jewelry Business Owner's Bible. Thank you so much for listening to the show today. This is Tracy Matthews signing off. Until next time.